Okay, guys. So the first thing that I want to address is value blending or value fading. Okay. So on this project, what we went and did is we went and we drew our organic shape first. Okay. So I've got it really, really light, so it's kind of hard to see. Then we went in with our B pencil all the way around on the inside, and we went right up against that outline, and we first started with kind of a darker ring. I'm gonna go only about halfway in this shape. So we started with that kind of darker ring, and then very, 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 very lightly, we added a lighter ring around that. Okay, and then we used our tortillon to blend it out. So you use kind of a medium pressure up against the outline here, and then it gets lighter and lighter. Now the reason I'm going over this is because this is what I'm seeing a lot from a lot of you. I'm seeing this. So I'm seeing this really, really dark outline. And so you guys have done it really dark here. And then you have just like a kind of light stripe next to it. So I'm seeing a lot of this. That's not what I'm looking for. You need to get a nice gradual blend. And it's okay if you're one of those people, you're just starting to kind of learn how to do this, okay? So the way that you need to correct this out is on your shape with your B pencil, you would have to come in and you would have to match your value, and you're doing kind of a value gradation. So you got to kind of match your pressure, and then as you move away from the outside of the shape, you're going to get it lighter and lighter and lighter. Now, this is too dark, in all honesty, for your first layer. So you guys can kind of see the difference between what kind of darks I have going on here versus this one. That's really, really dark, okay? So if you have a pretty stark outline, even if it's pretty thin, so if you kind of did this and then you did, so if I can see like a distinct like dark and then a light right next to each other, you need to blend out a lot more with your tortillon, okay? So please keep that in mind. All right, so via like presentation wise, and you guys can kind of see where I've started my next few steps on my project here. And so I'm gonna flash up the steps just to kind of show those. We did step 1 and 2 last week, so we did that, and now everybody should be pretty close to this stage where they have all their shapes filled in and shaded. So now we're gonna do step 3, where we're going to draw in new shapes, and then we're gonna value in the negative space with the solid 2. Okay, so I'm gonna demonstrate that on mine, and then you can pick it up after I've shown you how to do it on mine. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna kind of zoom in for you, and I'm gonna work in this area, maybe here, and in this little shape here, okay? Maybe, I might just do it right here in this area. So I'm gonna zoom in a bit for you, and I'm gonna work with my H pencil. You can work along with me if you want, but it's probably recommended that you just watch for a second, and then you can start, okay? So your big goal here is you're starting to build your layers. So you're going to be pushing your shapes. You're drawing a second set of shapes inside your first set, and you want to go larger rather than smaller, okay? So over here, I kind of had a shape that started, and I want it to go ahead and extend out into this shape. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing that in, and I'm probably going to come over into this shape as well. So you can choose how they look, but don't overlap them. No overlapping, but they need to get pretty close to each other. And you guys can see how they're getting close to each other. So now I'm going to come over and I want to start a shape. Oh, maybe I want to bring one here. So I'm getting them really close together. I want it to come up into this space. I don't want to overlap. So then I'm going to have it break here. And then since I have it curving around this way and I want to give the illusion that it's continuing into this other space, I'll bring that line in like that. Now again, they're not overlapping, but they're getting really close to each other, okay? So now I can go ahead and start another shape in here. And maybe I'll let that kind of flow through this way into that little one there. And I think I'm gonna have another one. Well, I'll just do it within this one here. I want this one to pull through all three shapes. So again, I want them to get pretty close to each other, not overlapping. I'm gonna have it come into this shape, back down, connect in there. Okay? So that's the next step. So why don't you pick that or do that in like one of your smaller shapes right now?
Is this for every shape?
Yeah, you'll do it through every shape. So by the time that I'm done, you'll do it through every shape. Okay? So just maybe pick one for right now just to kind of practice. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of move on here. And so I'm also going to bring a shape one more into this one. And I'll kind of make it circle. I'll finish it here. Go larger rather than smaller, because as we keep drawing these, we're going to be drawing shapes within our shapes, okay? So if our shapes are the objects themselves, they're the things that we're looking at, is that positive space or is that negative space? You guys remember?
Positive.
It's positive. Good. Rayleigh got it. Okay. So if the thing is the object, it's the positive space. When we looked at an image, it was a chair. The black chair was a positive space, and then the white space around it was a negative. I also use myself as an example, like you guys looking at me. I'm a positive space, whereas the space around me is negative. Now that's important because you have to shade in some of your negative space in that. And so everybody take a pause to look at what I'm doing here. So I went ahead and I got my new second set of shapes into my first set. So everyone pause and look. Okay, so I've lightly drawn out with my H pencil my new shapes. Now this negative space that I have in between my new shapes, those need to be shaded in a solid 2. Okay? And then blend it out with your tortillon. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to shade in all of those negative spaces now, a solid 2, and then I'm going to very lightly with my tortillon blend it all the way through. Okay. So there, and just kind of keep track on where your negative spaces are. Going on the edge of my paper there. So all your negative space, so that's the space in between the shapes that you just drew, are going to be a solid 2. 2 value. Okay, I'm going to pull this through here and kind of work my way from left to right. Probably at this point, guys, you're using your computer paper, like I have here, as a barrier in between your hand and your drawing so you don't smudge your graphite all over your paper. Okay, notice the time that I'm taking on filling this in. The H pencil has hard graphite, and so it likes to leave a lot of messy lines if you're not careful. So you need to just slow down and make them look really nice. So you're gonna shade it all the way in. And if some of your shapes got a little sketchy on the inside, you'll need to erase them out. Like I've got a few little stray hair lines within this shape that I'm gonna need to fix. Okay, so I've almost got it finished up here. And then I'll also continue this in this smaller shape over here. So remember, it needs to be a 2. If it's too dark, it's gonna mess your layers up. So keep it nice and light. You can use your eraser as a tool if you got everything too dark, and you can go over it. You should be using your H pencil. H pencil. Okay. All right, so there we go. So I've got all my negative space. Move this over a little bit. I've got all my negative space as a 2. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to use my tortillon, and I want to use it very, very lightly because it already has some. What time do we get out of here? Probably pretty soon. Okay, so goal is to get this shaded out this way. All right. So I think it is time to go ahead and start cleaning up. So you guys can do that. And we'll start there tomorrow.